Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of Classic Lotus Grand Prix. This is the sixth round from the legendary Branch Hatch circuit. My name is Joonas Puhakka. Alongside with me on the commentary booth, as always, is the three-time champion Tapani Linnaluoto. How are you doing, Tapani?
Fine, thanks. I got over my hangover yesterday.
And alongside Tapani, behind the cameras, doing a job that normally takes 5 men to do, is Eero Forsblom. Hello, Eero. And he can't actually speak to the broadcast, so he will be the silent one of our three-man crew. But this is the crew here today, and we are going to have a wonderful race at Branch Hatch soon enough. We will get the broadcast to your screens, the pictures to your screens as soon as possible. A little bit of technical difficulties with the server side, but that is of course expected. And Tapani, well, what are you expecting from tonight's race?
Well, it's a very different track to everything else on this season. It's the only high downforce track. It mainly has medium and high speed corners, lots of elevation changes. It's very important to get the car on the edge, so to speak, but not over the edge. You have to keep it on rails in the high speed corners. And it rewards experience and maybe a bit different strength than other tracks, so there might be some surprises and many experienced guys on top, I suppose.
Something to note, by the way, as we are starting the qualifying and drivers discussing fuel loads and such, Kalle Ruokala has overtook Gernot Fritsch in the I-rating race.
Wow.
So Kalle actually now has a higher I-rating than Gernot Fritsch, and that is quite something. Is that actually higher than yours, Tapani, too?
Yes,
I remember
it's over 8,000. Like I only have 7,000.
Yes, and we are on your live broadcast here. The qualifying is starting, as you can see. Pictures coming to your screens from the Branch Hatch circuit. Drivers are already tackling this circuit on their outlap. Usually the case as we are following. Let's follow Mark Pickford around. Mr. who likes cat pictures, a very experienced driver, Mark Pickford, who was the surprise of the race in Interlagos. Let's follow him around. Tapani, how would you reckon is the first or second lap faster here? Usually we see with this car that the second lap is faster, but that's not always the case, is it?
No, it's not. It depends on the track temperature. It's not that hot here. It's partly cloudy, 22 degrees Celsius, and track is 34. So it's on the cool side, but not extremely cool. So it could be the first, could be the second. Depends a bit on your tire pressures, but also on this track you need to get your flow going. So it might be just the second, because the driver needs the first to learn all the little details again.
Fair enough. One guy who I would like to point out, who is already starting on his flying lap, as is Mark Pickford coming through the last corner. Also Sergio Macias. He is one guy who I would like to point out because he's been blindingly fast. We saw him winning the race last week in Montreal. We saw him on very good pace in Interlagos as well. I've been following him around earlier on. We discussed him briefly last week, and he seems to be a student of the craft, so to speak. He comes in, he doesn't make much noise about himself. He just drives this car and drives it very fast indeed. And if I had to pick a black horse to challenge Kalle and Gernot and Antti and so on in this race, I would pick number 6 Sergio Macias, as he is coming through what is the fourth corner of this track, the 30th bend, coming through Pilgrim's Drop, through Hawthorne Hill and towards the Hawthorne Bend. And after that we are coming to the blindingly fast back section of the track. And what is important to keep in mind, Tapani, when you come through this section? Like, these are blindingly fast, blind corners of course, very fast, lots of gradient changes. What do you have to keep, if you had to keep one thing in mind, what would it be? One word.
One word?
One word. I challenge
you. Driving line. It's 2 words.
But... well, accuracy, could it be?
Yes, of course. You need to know your line and keep your car on it.
Oh, and Sergio comes across the line on his first lap. It's 1:13.8, and he takes the provisional pole position right now. Let's see what Mark Pickford can do. 1:14.6 for Mark, so he takes position number 6. Not too bad for Mark. There is still a lot of fast drivers. Andrea Ventura, for example, has now done his second lap actually, and he is
Sergio
not on pace at all.
made a mistake on his second lap.
Yeah, he's not on pace at all this week, doesn't seem to be. And Joni Beckman also, who is right now on his second lap as well. He is coming through the fast back section of the track as well, tackling Havtron Sprint as we speak right now, to Derek Minder straight and coming through Westfield Bend and then through where used to be the Dingledale chicane. Isn't there anymore? And and Joni screws it up. Joni screws it up, and that's a big mistake. And
that's a very difficult corner in qualifying because there's those bumps on the exit, and you just have to put your foot on the throttle and try to keep it straight.
Yeah, indeed. So we also have a lot of other drivers. Gernot Fritsch, who is right now on track. So he just went to the track a bit late. To what I'm able to see, perhaps a bit of mind games from Kalle and Gernot and Antti as well. Just waiting, adjusting their qualifying setup perhaps until the car is as they want it, and then able to see what are the time range, what times will other drivers be doing. And it looks to be high 13s, low 14s to get in top 5 right now. 13.845 is the provisional pole position for Fabian Gerber right now, but Gernot is on his first flying lap, and this will be a good one. It looks certainly very good. And this is a track, as you said, Tapani, which rewards experience. And I don't think there's anybody who has more experience from this car than Gernot Fritsch.
No, absolutely not. It looks very clean with the fast corners. Let's see how it goes. The end of
last
the first
corner
lap.
coming up, and of course he has the second lap still left, coming through the main straight, the Brabham straight. What will be his time? I'm predicting a high 13, and it's a low 14.2, so it's not as fast as Gernot would have perhaps wanted. It's 4/10 of the pace right now, as Kalle was able to do 113.8 flat on his first flying lap, so he was actually 4/10 faster than Gernot on his first lap. Kalle still on his second lap too. And Ian Card also a very good time. He is in position number 6 right now with 114.1, or well 114.097 to be exact. And in case you are wondering, sometimes on the screen you see different times than we see on our live timing. The difference is usually only 1,000 of a second. But in case you wonder why I'm saying exact and then say no, it's because of that. It's not because I need new glasses, even though I do. Anyway, back to the actual qualifying itself. Kalle is on his second lap coming towards the last corners. Gernot is right behind him actually. So on track, we can't get them on your screens at the same time, but it's gonna be really close between those two. And Antti also on his second flying lap. He was a bit slower than Gernot.
Kalle made a few mistakes. He's not going to do faster.
Okay, so it's gonna be Gernot Fritsch and Antti Lepisto, I think, who are going to challenge Kalle for that pole position. Gernot coming up over the hill, full throttle, 4th gear, 10 5th gear, 230 kilometers per hour, and will he do it? Yes, he will! Gernot Fritsch has done it once again, ladies and gentlemen. 113.752 with half a tenth to spare to Kalle Ruokola, who wasn't able to improve on his second lap. There's one more man to go, however, in the leading 6, and that is Juha Norolampi. He has been very, very fast this week. He was also very fast last week as well as in Interlagos, but this week he has been blindingly fast. Other drivers have been wondering where does he get this pace from. His second lap is underway, coming towards the line, right on the inside, hugging the inside. Can he do it? Yes, he can! Oh my lord! Juha Norolampi, where did that come from? Number 15, 113.690. Wow. I'm telling you, wow, 600ths of a second faster than Gernot Fritsch. Over a 10th of a second faster than Kalle Ruokola, and even more faster than Fabian Gerber, Nuno Moreira, Sergio Matias, Antti Lepisto, Josué Leocata, and Nathan Chiarlo, AJ Bear running out your top 10 at this moment, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't think we have any more drivers who could challenge Juha Norolampi's time. Nate Franklin still on the track out there, but he has already done his 2 laps, and wow, that was an amazing, a spectacular time from Juha Norolampi.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, and before we go to your grid once again, I would just like to say a quick word of thank you, of course, to our everyone who makes this broadcast possible. Hydrogen Carbon Clean, optimizing engine performance, as well as SD Truck Interiors, of course, for your quality lowering needs, as well as the entire iRacing Classic Team Championship Lotus 79 community. Thank you to each and every one of you. Without you, this broadcast certainly would not be possible. So, your grid, ladies and gentlemen, as the drivers are lining up, it will be Juha Norolampi with the pole position here at Branch Hatch. Alongside with him will start Gernot Fritsch on the second place. Kalle Ruokola in the second row on 3rd position. Alongside him is Fabian Gerber, place 4. Then it's Nuno Moreira, Sergio Matias, Row 3, Antti Lepistö, Joshua Leokata. Row 4, Nathan Cialo, AJ Beer. Row 5, positions 9 and 10. Then it's Ian Card, Michael Vandenberg, Joni Beckman, Son Wiltshire, Sam Doby, Stuart Dick, Mark Pickford, Matthew Wood, Nathan Porter, Nate Franklin, Thorsten Kaul, Andrea Ventura and David McDonald. So that is your grid, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a really tight one because inside 1 second from Juha Lampi's absolutely meteoric pole position time is Mark Pickford in P number 17. So we got 17 guys within a second, and that's really, really close.
Trying to pour my afternoon tea because we're in Britain, so I'm sorry if I...
And it's already 5 o'clock in Finland. Actually past.
Yeah, it's past, yeah. I'm a bit late.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are indeed. Drivers wishing good luck to each other. And Joni Beckman, who is starting in P number 13, would say luck has nothing to do with it, as we know. He is one of those drivers. Anyway, we will see what Joni Beckman will do in this race, as well as other drivers. What do you say outside of the top 10 has the chance to be the driver of this race, so to speak? If you had to pick someone from outside the top 10, who would it be that races to challenge the leaders?
Well, I'm not sure if they can actually challenge the leaders, but to rise maybe to top 5, there's the triplet Ian Card, Michael Vandenberg, and Joni Beckman, 11th, 12th, and 13th, who might have a chance.
I would say so. Do drivers revving up their engines, and we are underway soon enough. And it is the 6th race of the season. Classic Team Championship underway, and here we go. And Kalle Ruokola takes a quite good start from 3rd place, but it is Gernot Fritsche who takes the lead like a man possessed at the start. Juha Lampi, and he is he already out? Juha Lampi already going wide into turn number 1, and he is losing a lot of positions. What a fantastic pole position from him, but so it is not to be. It was not to be for Juha Lampi. They made contact in turn number 1, and that is it for Juha. It's gonna be a long race from here on out. Drivers battling for that 3rd position. As a matter of fact, Kalle is also made contact in turn number 1. He has lost a lot of places, but your leading driver, ladies and gentlemen, is Gernot Fritsche. He is in the lead right now. Nuno Moreira in the 2nd place, rising from P number 5. Sergio Macias in 3rd from P number 6, then it's Fabian Gerber, Antti Lepistö, Nathan Cialo, Joshua Leokata, and Kalle Ruokola. And Kalle challenging Joshua coming into turn number 5, but he is not able to make the pass into Hardron Spain. It's a very difficult place to overtake from here, but that threw a wrench into things for a lot of drivers. The 2 Finns who started in top 5, of course, those guys were Juha Lampi and Kalle Ruokola. Those guys are now far back. Kalle Ruokola within the outskirts of the top 10, and of course Juha Lampi right in the back of your field. I believe he is right now somewhere near P number 17. We'll have to see once they come over the line, but it is in the lead Gernot Fritsche, the man to meet the legend Gernot, and will we see him driving away from the rest of the field in this 35-lap race, Tapani?
Well, it could certainly happen. It was Juha and Kalle who made contact in turn 1, and I think Kalle may have some front wing damage. Juha may have also some front wing damage from the driving fast through the dirt, but we'll see how they handle.
Indeed so. Juha, to my screen, it looks to be, as I was watching outside to your racetrack, he seemed to have a little bit of damage in his front wing. Front wing a little bit bent up, and that is something that perhaps could affect his race as they go on. He is in P number 17. Meanwhile, there's also a good battle between Son Wiltshire and Stuart Dick, and Son Wiltshire able to make the move on Stuart Dick, actually able to defend his position against Stuart Dick. And meanwhile, also Mark Pickford is behind Matthew Wood right now, who is going really wide in these corners. Juha Lampi right now able to challenge those guys and really make those moves, put those moves on. That is what he needs to do if he wants to get back into the leading positions, because he is very fast. We have seen he can be on absolute leading pace. He was doing so on qualifying. Race is a different thing from qualifying, but he knows that he has the pace. Right now it's frustrating for him because he has to make a lot of overtakes in a track where it's usually very difficult, if not impossible to do so. Impossible is nothing, but it's gonna be very difficult day for Juha Lampi. Meanwhile, back in your outskirts of top 10, it's Michael Vandenberg, Sam Doby and Son Wiltshire battling it out for P number 12, P number 13 and P number 14. I believe it is Michael who is not able to make as fast of a progress as he would have liked, perhaps, because Michael was in very good pace at Interlagos. He was able to win the race. Oh, and Kalle is in the wall. Kalle Ruokola is in the wall, exiting turn number 3, and that is the Graham Hill bend. He was going a little bit too wide on the exit. You can take the exit really wide here, but he hit the grass, and as soon as he hit the grass, the car jumped up, and he is in the inside wall and out of your race, ladies and gentlemen. That is a heartbreak for Kalle, who finally got past Gernot Fritsch in the iRating race, who was in a very good position starting this race, but right now it's all over for Kalle Ruokola, and that is the look of disappointment on his face as he walks away from his car, helmet in hand, and wow, that really puts a wrench into the things. Meanwhile, in your lead, it is still Gernot Fritsch. In your second place, it is Nuno Moreira. Sergio Matias in third place. Fabian Gerber fourth. Antti Lepistö in fifth position, ahead of Nathan Ciallo. Right now, the gap between Gernot and Nuno for that lead is 1 second. Exactly 1 second between those two guys. Sergio Matias in third place. Also, guys who are able to benefit from Kalle's little accident. I believe this throws a clear track to Ian Carr, to Joni Beckman, and to H.A. Beer, as well as Michael van den Berg. There's a lot of talent in that group, actually. Driving for those positions, P number 8 to P number 11, even P number 12. So we got a lot of drivers who are indeed capable of challenging for top 5s, even podiums in this race, who are further back than one would expect. And Tapani, what is the mindset that one has to keep in mind when you are, say, you would expect to be on top 3 in terms of raw pace, in top 3 in terms of previous experiences, in terms of your rating, and there you are driving in position number 11?
Well, I'm not sure. You just have to suck it in and make those lap times and try to make those passes when you catch up the guys in front. Regarding passing here, it's not impossible at all, but it requires a bit different mindset maybe to other tracks, because you may have to wait for a while. Everybody makes mistakes here.
Yeah, and meanwhile we are riding on board with Fabian Gerber in position number 4, and he is seems to be catching a little to Sergio Matias, 2/10 in the last lap, and there you can see the drivers tackling this circuit. We had some wishes that we could perhaps be a little bit more on board with these drivers, and that is what we are doing here right now as they tackle this difficult circuit. Talk us through the lap of Fabian Gerber, Tapani, from your point of view.
Well, he has Sergio in ahead of him. There's a couple of car lengths in between. The dirt here shouldn't affect that much, although the cars are understeery in the beginning of the race anyway. And as you can see, he slightly struggles with understeer on the fast corners. But as you can see, slight mistake from Sergio, and he's right on back of him. And you have to wait for those mistakes, and then you can try to set up the pass. It may take several corners. If you take a defensive line here, you lose a lot of time, and when you're driving behind the other guy, you can use that to your advantage by setting up the pass, not to that corner, but the next 2 corners, for example.
Yes, and Fabian Gerber is doing that indeed right now. He's very close to the back of Sergio Matias. Sergio going really wide on turn number 1, the paddock hill bend, the famous paddock hill bend, and he takes it so wide that he's able to perhaps buy himself a little bit of breathing space as they are coming into lap number 6, but Fabian still really close indeed to Sergio Matias, and this is a battle for your position number 3, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we are following it so closely as they come to the end of this straight. Is he close enough? I don't think he is quite close enough to challenge him coming into turn number 5, perhaps into turn 6, turn 7, maybe. What do you think?
He's not too close unless Sergio makes mistakes.
Not too close.
Not close enough, I mean.
Fair enough, it happens sometimes. English isn't our first language, so these kind of things happen. We try our best, but it's not as good as natives will be. In either way, Sergio still ahead of Fabian Gerber. Let's see the lap times. Sergio doing very consistent 15.3 last time by, Nuno doing 14.8, Gernot Fritsch 14.9, but the gap isn't that big. Still 1 second between Gernot Fritsch and Nuno Moreira for your race lead. Practically identical lap times last time by. Let's see Sergio 2/10 losing, Fabian Gerber losing 4/10 on that last lap, so he made a little bit of a mistake. Little bit of a mess of that last lap, and the pace is just exhausting. It's unbelievable how fast these drivers have to go so early on. And meanwhile, Antti Lepistö has caught up right to the back of Fabian Gerber for that P number 4. So it looked to me like Fabian wasn't quite able to get it done. It looked to Antti that way as well, and Antti is like, okay, well, Fabian, if you're not able to do it, then I'm just gonna pass you, be faster, and perhaps catch up to the top 3. Get my own track on Sergio Matias 3rd place.
Yes, it certainly looks like Antti has the faster car right now. He just needs to set that pass up and not make mistakes himself.
Indeed.
Get
As they
close
come out
behind
of they come out of turn number 5, and what caught my eye is how Antti Lepistö, for example, he is sometimes on the grass, just one edge of the tire on the grass, and if you could get a camera on top of the rear tire, I think that you could see how on the edge these drivers are in this back section. There is not an inch, not a millimeter of real estate that is left unused on those exits, and how crucial it is in terms of lap time to use all of that track instead of 95%.
Well, as I like to say, if you want to get those lap times, you have to use all the grip, all the track, all the time. So it's really crucial.
And that is indeed so. And that is a good mantra to remember, actually, because a lot of lap time has to do with how close you are to the edge, and as well as your own edge, and it's all about managing yourself and be really like on the edge constantly, but not too far, not over it, of course. And there is also a good battle going on meanwhile for P number 15 P number 16 between Stuart Dick and Mark Pickford, and Stuart Dick has lost that position during the course of this lap to Matthew Wood, and now he is under pressure from Mark Pickford and Stuart Dick, of course, guys who have battled for many a season in this series, in the Lotus 79 series, in the Classic Team Championship, and they are at it once again on what is a home track to both of them, I reckon. On what is Branch Hatch, a track that is very well known to the British drivers, and this duo is certainly not only British but also know this circuit very well indeed. Mark is right now applying the pressure to Stuart Dick. He was 4/10 of a second faster last time by. So, and actually that lap time that Mark Pickford was able to put on, 1:15.4, as Stuart makes a little bit of mistake in the last corner. Can Mark go to the outside? Go to the outside.
This is what I'm talking about. You make a slight mistake and bam, the other guy has a
nice move.
Place to pass.
Nice move, clean move on the outside into turn number 1. And it is actually, what do you say you would actually prefer going around the outside to overtake into turn number 1?
Yes.
Is Paddock Hill Bend one of those corners?
Yes, it's really hard to use the inside line in the entry. It's so easy to go wide.
And also Sergio Matthias as well as Fabian Gerber are really close to each other right now. Antti Lepistö a bit further behind them, but Fabian once again able to catch up to Sergio. And they're really close to each other now. Oh, almost touching. I think Fabian is right now more aggressive than he used to be. Oh, and as we say that, Sergio going a little bit wide coming into last corner, and this will perhaps allow Fabian to get a good exit from the last corner, but no. Sergio was looking to go a little bit wide, but he was able to keep it just on track and get just enough power down that Fabian wasn't able to challenge him. But this battle for your third position raging on as ever. And they are taking really wide line through turn number 1 on that exit, using all of the curb, all of the extension beyond the curb, and even getting on the sand a little bit. And that is amazing to watch. But how difficult it is to use those curves with the Lotus 79?
Well, actually in Branch Hatch it's quite easy. They're flat. Some of them are a bit bumpy. We saw Kalle Ruokola in the exit of turn 3, which has a wide exit extension curbing. But the curbing, it stops a bit early, so you have to get back on track and not on the bumpy grass bit on the end. That's what happened to Kalle. I have done it many times myself when you're just on the edge and you try very hard.
Oh, and there's a mistake. Yes, indeed, there's a mistake from Sergio Matthias, and now Fabian is closer than ever. It looked like he was actually trying to challenge him coming into Sterling's Bend, but decided against it, and that is perhaps a good thing, because Sterling's Bend is one of those difficult corners that you perhaps cannot always take as fast as you would like, and it's easy to make a mistake there as well. Now we'll see what will come of this, what is now a 3-car battle for the third position. Antti Lepistö has caught up to the group as well. Last lap by 1:15.2 for Sergio, 15.3 for Fabian, 15.2 for Antti as well. So identical lap times. Nathan Ciallo also hanging up quite close to them. I'm actually surprised how close Nathan is able to be of them. And meanwhile, Nuno Moreira and Gernot Fritsch running away in the lead of your race. Gernot now able to get a little bit of breathing space. He is 1.5 seconds ahead of Nuno Moreira, so he is doing what Gernot does best. just when you start catching him up, he finds another gear somewhere, and I have driven behind Gernot Fridge. I remember that one fateful Road Atlanta race when I was constantly like trying to catch him up, driving as fast as I can, and whenever I got within a second of Gernot Fridge, he found 2 tenths somewhere, and then it was just identical lap times, 10 2 tenths. And also Joni Beckman challenging. Oh, and they both go wide. Ian Card and Joni Beckman, they both go wide in the Sheen curve. Of course, what is after the old Dingle Dell chicane. So AJ Bear is now closer to those two than he was previously. But previously, as these two drivers battle on, both experienced and very clean, consistent drivers, both with very, very good racecraft. Ian Card and Joni Beckman, and AJ Bear, another experienced driver, joining this group. So it's a Brit versus a Finn versus an Australian, and it's going to be interesting to see which one out of these three will take that 8th position to themselves. AJ Bear also joined by Michiel van den Berg, who is still surprisingly far back. Some dope is still hanging up to this group, so we got this 5-car train, almost a 6-car train. Sound a bit too far away to be really involved in this group. Battling for the 8th position, trying to catch up to Joshua Leocata, but not quite able to do it. In fact, they were right behind Joshua last time by before they made that mistake, which cost them almost a second on the last lap. So Joni Beckman and Ian Card both battling it out. Meanwhile, on your battle for top 3, it is still unchanged. Still Sergio Macias in the 3rd place. Still Fabian Gerber 4th, and still Antti Lepistö rounding out your top 5. But this is really close right now. And when is the point? I'm just looking at these guys. I'm so looking at them lap after lap after lap, taking everything out of themselves and using all of the track and getting on throttle as soon as possible. Now, what is the point where do you find the time at this stage? When you look at someone like Antti Lepistö, how can he go a little bit faster? What does he need to do to go a little bit faster? Or is it that he is driving as fast as he can and, well, there is just nothing he can do at this stage?
Well, it's a lot about it is tire management, keeping not
Really?
sliding around and overheating the tire. It's also driver management, so you hit those marks. And track, on this track is extremely important to stay on top of your driving line all the time, and that's it.
And Beckman is attacking Ian Card coming turn number 5, and he is able to get it done. Still too wide, exiting the corner, but there was no space for Ian Card, and Ian Card also decided to back out of it. Didn't want to cause a collision there, and of course Joni Beckman finally taking that 8th position to himself, as I'm sure he would say, with a nice move coming in the Horton's Bend. He was able to get a good run coming up Pilgrim's Drop from the Stewardess corner, and right now he is ahead of Ian Card, and it's going to be interesting to see how fast will Joni Beckman be able to go. As of this moment in the race, we still got over 20 laps to go, as a matter of fact. We still have like 23 laps to go in this race. So Joshua Leocata is in the 7th place, ahead of Joni Beckman. The gap right now, as it stands, between those two drivers is 1.9 seconds. So Joshua is actually less than 10 seconds still away from Gernot Fridge, but he is only 1.9 seconds ahead of Joni Beckman. It's going to be interesting to see how fast will Joni Beckman be able to catch up to Joshua, if at all. And what will Ian Card do? Will he right now try to hang in the back of Beckman? Will he be under pressure from AJ Bear? What will he do? And just, I guess time will tell. But he was a driver who was just overtaken after a good long battle. How does it affect your mental state? After a good battle, you get overtaken, and then immediately the driver ahead of you starts to pull away. What do you need to think? Do you just need to do a mental reset, not to think about anything, just drive your own race, or how do you handle that kind of a situation?
You just continue driving the car on the best you can. No, you never want to.
David McNulty.
Let those situations get a hold of you.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Sorry for interrupting during your answer, but it seems that always when I ask you something philosophical, something about driving, it seems that something is happening on the track, and this time by it was Torsten Kaul passing David McDonald for the 18th position. David is really in trouble in this race. Nate Franklin behind them, as well as Nathan Del Porter and Andrea Ventura. So it's still Gernot Fridge in the lead of your race. We have, by the way, 23 drivers in this race, of whom 22 are still on the track, and Kalle Ruokola has, as we saw earlier on, unfortunately been taken out of this motor race. And that is really a sad thing for Kalle, but it also has its implications on the championship, because this is really the one race where you take the highest points. I think this time slot has now become the slot where you take 250 points for the win. Now, Kalle isn't able to get those points. He isn't able to get 200 plus points. He will maybe have to settle for 160 this week or so if he is able to get another race which counts towards his score. If he is able to get a good race next time by, then perhaps 160. But how important right now, and what does it change? Because it used to be in the classic team championship that you had 2 or 3 time slots. You had Saturday and then the 2 on Sunday that yielded high points. Now it's only 1. What do you think? Who are the beneficiaries out of these drivers, and who are the drivers who perhaps come out worst out of it when you only have 1 chance?
Well, it rewards the most consistent drivers who don't bump into other cars and keep them track and can be fast at the same time.
Who would you say, by the way, coming into that topic as we are watching the battle between Johnny Beckman, Ian Card, AJ Bear, Michael Vandenberg and Sam Doby, there's a good train going on, that's why I wanted to bring your attention to that as well. Who would you say, if you had to pick one, and I'm making you pick one, I'm making you pick favorites, who would you say is the most consistent? Not perhaps the fastest, could be the fastest, but most consistent driver out of all, who you can always count for a solid result in this championship, in this motor race?
Well, hard to pick one.
Well, pick 4.
There. I'm not going to pick Ford. I'd rather drive a Lotus.
So you're holding your answer?
I think, well...
Holding your answer, get it?
Usually, it's often the case that some of the faster drivers are also consistent. There's something in that you can be fast, you also have to be consistent. Because if you're not consistent over those corners, your lap times suffer. So I'm not sure. I may go with Gernot Fritsch just with that experience, and that's the easy answer, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. Meanwhile, for your battle for your P number 3 is still stagnant, so to speak, as we are coming halfway through this race. It is still Sergio Macias defending valiantly and gallantly his position against the attacks of Fabian Gerber and Antti Lepistö as well. The lap times are still what they used to be, 15.5, 15.4 and 15.3, but crucially, they are about 1 second slower than the drivers ahead of them. Nuno Moreira, as a matter of fact, has caught up Gernot Fritsch in the last couple of laps, but this could be just a mirage. This could be just a momentary burst of pace from Nuno Moreira, as I have experienced myself, that Gernot can really pick up the power when needed. But right now it looks to me that Nuno is taking much more chances as opposed to Gernot Fritsch. Gernot isn't going the wide line through that turn number 1. He is a bit more steady on the exit. Gernot is just a constant force, and as you said, he is really consistent, as opposed to Nuno, who is really wrestling that car around. And it is actually quite fantastic to watch. I suggest we jump on board with Nuno Moreira for 1 lap as he tackles these fast bends, because this will be something you guys want to see if you want a driving lesson from Mr. Moreira himself, a very experienced and fast driver. So as he follows Gernot Fritsch around, seeing that SX rear wing, that Lotus rear wing of Gernot Fritsch, and of course that is the one scalp that every driver in this series wants.
Yeah, I think Nuno might be one of the more aggressive drivers regarding to driving style, not maybe to passing. On this track, maybe the aggressive style may not be the fastest way around. On some corners, and if you can keep it consistent, it can work.
Yeah, indeed. So as I have to apologize also for one of the drivers here, I got a pronunciation tip. It's actually Sergio Macias. That is, I think, a bit closer. Thanks to Ernesto for that one. So Sergio Macias, as opposed to Macias, is running in your 3rd place, ahead of Fabian Gerber, ahead of Antti Lepistö as well. Now also Nathan Ciarlo behind them, and Nathan is someone who I've been watching for a while now, as Joni Beckman has got himself past Cherso Leokata for that 7th position. I haven't heard much of Nathan Ciarlo. He is a driver who is relatively unknown to me, a Brazilian driver, but he is in really good pace in this race now. Time to pick him up too.
Yeah, he's been driving behind the fast guys. Good on race. Not much happening around him.
Quiet race.
Quiet race, yeah. That's it's maybe quite advantageous to have a quiet race here because you can concentrate on your driving line and at the other cars. When you're driving in a pack, you there's always some mistakes going on in this track. Small mistakes, but mistakes nonetheless.
Yes, indeed, and he is also, I would say, within striking range. He is now 4 seconds back from Sergio Macias for that 3rd position, but 4 seconds is something that can be easily caught up in the course of this race, especially if they stop driving this train, if they stop driving behind each other and start actually battling. Because that can really cost you time, and that's why I brought it up, because he could be someone who has an outside chance of rising into top 5, especially if there is a collision, which we don't hope for in that battle for P number 3. Also, it seems to me that Antti Lepistö has lost a little bit of ground on this lap, and meanwhile Noralampi has made a little bit of a mistake coming into the back straight, and as a result has lost a lot of time and perhaps damaged the underside of his car a little bit. Not sure about that, but Juha has had a difficult race since starting from the pole position. Oh, a big crash! Big wreck! It is Michael Vandenberg and Sam Doby and Ian Card as well. And this happened coming into Westfield Bend, I believe. So let's see, get a replay on your screen as soon as possible. Ian Card going wide, exiting turn number 5. He was able to brake there and rejoining the track on the inside. Well, this is a difficult one to judge because Michael, I don't think he saw Ian. I don't think he knew that Ian was coming back to the track. So Michael was just turning into the apex. Ian just sliding straight on because there's not much you can do. You can't really do anything there aside from brake or try to turn in, but you're on the grass or out of control. So Michael Vandenberg and Ian Card crashing hard into each other, horrendous accident. Juha Noralampi able to witness that one, and Sam Doby involved in it as well, I think. No, Sam Doby, as a matter of fact, he was also only avoiding Ian Card and trying to avoid the entire accident and went wide, lost one position, but survived unscathed out of that one. So, Tapani, comments?
The inside bit of the... You don't really want to go into the inside grass where you just are going to join the track again and you can't really do much about it. It's a nasty one.
Nasty one indeed, and it really ruined the race for both Ian Card and Michael Vandenberg, and this is something that may cause a lot of confusion. I don't think Ian did per se anything wrong there, because yes, he made a mistake, he caused a collision, so to speak. He made a mistake and drove on the inside grass, but really he kept his line, and then, well, he couldn't really brake his car in time. As Michael Vandenberg, he was perhaps expecting Ian trying to avoid him. Ian trying to avoid him, and as a result, trying to take the racing line in the position. So it's just an unfortunate accident. Meanwhile, Joni Beckman has lost that position, that 6th position, what is right now 7th place. He has lost it in turn number 1 to Cherso Leokata, but a nice save if you get a replay on your screens. Nice save in turn number 1. He went too far, he went too wide, but was able to do the 2-foot magic save and lose one position, but regain control of his race car and stay ahead of HABR most crucially. So this is something that will be a good battle going forward in this race. And for your lead, it is a good battle right now. I'm looking at Gernot Fridge, I'm looking at Nuno Moreira. Gernot has picked it up. He has certainly picked up his lap times. So has Nuno Moreira, and Nuno is consistently from half a tenth to 1/10 of a second faster. And right now, actually, Gernot made a mistake. Made a mistake coming into turn number 2. Druids, and they are too wide for the lead of this motor race. Nuno Moreira on the outside, coming into turn number 3. Gernot on the inside, able to defend on the inside, but getting loose on the exit. And they come towards turn number 4, Surtees bend. Nuno trying on the inside, not able to do it. And why did he try on the inside? He could have had the run to coming into back straight, but instead he lost a lot of ground here. And Gernot able to hold on to that lead once again, ladies and gentlemen. We saw a rare mistake from Gernot Fridge, I think. He was braking a little early perhaps on the outside or a little late on the outside, and Nuno just forcing himself to the inside, but not able to get the overtake done through multiple corners. But still, Nuno has now shown the battle flag to Gernot Fridge. He is not content with second place. He did not come for second place this year. He came for the win, he came for the lead, and he wants to pry that trophy out of the hands of Gernot Fridge.
This is one of the good examples of the passing dynamics on this track. Gernot didn't make a defensive line into turn 2, and so he kept the door open, and he didn't dare to close it with the normal racing line, so he kind of had to let it open for Nuno to just barge in. And well, if you're close enough and the guy in front doesn't make those defensive moves, you can just... There's a gap. Turn 2 is a good example. Turn 4, the Surtees corner. It's another one because it has a very wide entry to the corner. So if someone is right behind you, you can just point the car towards the apex and brake on that line and slow them both down.
So if you no longer go for a gap, you're no longer a racing driver, huh?
Well... right, maybe.
Anyway, Gernot, my dear God. That was, I actually said that word right now out loud, because that was a fantastic save from Gernot Fridge. He, once again, he hit the curb. And that was a very difficult save. In Sheen curve, he hit the curb and just able to save it when I thought it was no longer possible, when I was sure that we are going to see the Australian in the wall. But no, he saved it once again, and Nuno Moreira applying constant pressure. This is amazing right now. We still have 11 laps to go, and they are fighting it out for the lead. Duking it out for your race win, ladies and gentlemen. Two of the finest drivers this series has to offer, and really fighting it out. Good, clean racing, incredible racecraft from both of these guys, amazing driving, and the amount of skill and experience is out of the chart, jumping through the roof. Nuno Moreira coming into the back straight, he is right behind Gernot Fridge once again. In the third position we got Sergio Macias and Fabian Gerber, as well as Antti Lepisto in that battle, but they have calmed down right now. And it seems Nuno is on the outside. Nuno is on the outside coming in turn number 5. He is not able to get it done, but Gernot has to defend constantly. Now Nuno looking to the inside, not able to get it done. You can't pass on the inside into that corner, and once again losing a little bit of ground in that downhill as they approach Dingledale, coming into Sheen curve and coming towards Sterling's bend once again. Nuno Moreira constantly trying to keep up with Gernot Fridge. Oh, Nuno! He made a mistake. He tried too hard, got too early on the throttle, made a little bit of mistake, and lost a lot of ground to Gernot Fridge right now. And Sergio Macias is right now right behind him, as is Fabian Gerber, as is Nathan Cialo as well. And we have one missing, and it is Antti Lepisto. Antti Lepisto is also missing, as Nuno Moreira made that mistake, as you can see on your screens. Meanwhile, outside of your screens, it is Antti Lepisto who did a nice 360 coming into Sterling's bend. And he was actually able to retain the control of his race car, and he was lucky that there was nobody immediately behind him, but he did lose to that 5th position. He lost that 5th position to Nathan Cialo, who was the one driver we talked about earlier, who had a quiet race. And there is a good battle also going on behind between Joshua Lecata and Joni Beckman. They are approaching turn number 3, and Joshua looking, but Beckman has been able to take that 7th position away from him in turn number 1 with a nice move up to the inside, and Beckman right now leading the charge for that group. And it is Lecata and AJ Beer and Sam Wilchar close behind them, Sam Doby as well as Juhan Lampi. Of course, we have Michael van den Berg and Ian Card missing from that group. Those were the two guys earlier on that were in this group that are there no longer, because they were the casualties of that accident between Ian and Michael van den Berg as well. Neither driver saying anything to each other. No drama, no nothing, just, okay, we had a crash, let's move on. And that is what I really, really love about this series. There is no overgoing drama. Oh, and Jon Beckman made a mistake and Beckman's in the wall. Joni Beckman is in the wall, exiting turn number 8, and he did the exact same thing as Nuno Moreira did. He did exactly the same thing as Kalle Ruokala did, only in different corner. He hit the curb, he went too wide, couldn't save it right on time, and hit the inside wall, and that was quite a contact. In fact, it was so hard of a contact that Joni Beckman's suspension is most certainly damaged. His steering rack is damaged and he has to wrestle that car as it looks more like a banana than a race car right now. He is in P number 12 in the back of that group. And once again, that hands the 7th position to Joshua Leukat.
That was a rookie mistake by Joni Beckman.
Oh.
You have done the same in Suzuka Degner 2 exit, if you remember.
Yes, I have.
Yes, you.
How do you remember?
Yes.
Do you stop me?
You can't put the car on a high curb and exit. You'll bottom out and lose the traction. And that's one of the curbs you can't go over. You can put 2 tires on it, but you can't go over it.
So he went too far over it then as a result.
Yes, I saw him earlier use the curb a bit riskily, but I didn't mention it at the time. I think he learned his lesson.
Indeed so, and I hope he takes the right way because he certainly has the talent. And,
yes, of course. It's small details of how you have to drive the car and use the curbs.
Yes, but it is surprising to me as we are watching Beckman's lap times. 117.3 last time, right? So actually, he lost about 3 seconds, about 2.5 seconds perhaps, due to car damage. And he has to wrestle his car, but he is still in position number 10 and still trying to finish the race, as is expected. Now it's Matthew Wood behind him, then it's Mark Bickford, and Ian Card is back on the track as well in position number 10. Oh, and Sam Wilshire made a mistake in turn number 4. So we are starting to see mistakes, and as you said, tire management is coming into play. Sam Wilshire breaking himself a little bit wide, losing control of his race car in the Stordis corner and losing also a lot of positions, especially, most importantly, he is 9th place in that group. He was 9th, he is now in P number 11 as he was passed by both Sam Doby and Juha Norolampi as well. And right now it's AJ Beer right behind Joshua Lekata. It's Beckman out of that group, it's Michael van den Berg out of that group, it is Ian Card out of that group, and right now it's Sam Wilshire out of that group momentarily at least as well. So it's all down to AJ Beer to challenge that fated 7th position, which certainly hasn't been a lucky 7 in this race.
Yeah, well, I think I may have mentioned it earlier, but everybody makes mistakes here. It's a question of where you make those and where you take the risks if you need to. It's almost impossible to follow the driving line perfectly and still keep up with their lap times. The car will slide around here and there. Just have to not let those little slides and mistakes ruin your race.
Indeed so, that is a very good point. Meanwhile, Gernot Fritsch has certainly not let anything ruin his race, as he has made a couple of small errors, but he has made them in positions where it hasn't cost him too much, and that is crucial, and he is leading away in your motor race. But what I was looking at is the gap between Gernot and Nuno Moreira. Now, I'm not trying to hype up a lead battle when there is most likely not going to be one or anything, but there is an outside chance that through a mistake by Gernot, which I know is a very unlikely thing to happen, through a mistake by Gernot or through Nuno simply finding something out of this board, he could still catch up, because it's 2.3 seconds, 6 laps to go, and as I'm looking at their driving right now, Nuno is right on the edge. Gernot is perhaps not quite as much on the edge as Nuno is at this stage of your race. So Nuno Moreira, he has to remember that, well, he is still trying to catch up to Gernot, of course, as any racing driver would, but he has to remember that he's got Sergio right behind him, and Sergio is actually lapping even faster than Nuno. So what kind of situation it is? At which stage do you give up the battle for the lead and just try to bring home the second, or do you do that at all?
Well, you first would have to catch Gernot to have a lead battle, so you just have to make those lap times and hope it will be enough.
But I mean taking the risks, you of course.
Oh, you mean the risk of losing the second position?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there's a second in between, so I don't think Sergio can purely by pace get the second position. So somebody would have to make a...
Oh, Antti for P number 5. Antti Lepisto was looking in the main straight. Sorry to interrupt you there. Nathan Ciallo and Antti Lepisto are fighting for 5th place. Antti, of course, behind Nathan right now after his little 360. So it's Antti Lepisto and Nathan Ciallo fighting for the 5th position as we have 5 laps to go as well. And Antti is looking really aggressive. He has the raw pace. He was 7/10 faster last time by, of course, with a little bit of help from that draft too. But right now Antti has to simply find that one place to overtake Nathan Ciallo from. I don't think it's gonna be quite close enough to the end of the back straight, but Nathan closes up the inside, compromising his line a little bit, and Antti is able to follow him, but not quite close enough to have a chance at these fast bends. So it's gonna be, realistically, it's gonna be once again waiting to kill the main straight, but it's a good battle going on here for your P number 5, and the only battle right now inside your top 10 that is happening on the track. So close. There's also a good battle between HABR and Joshua Leokata as well, but they are, I think, a little bit further away from each other, as Antti also lost a bit of ground once again to Nathan and trying to catch it up once again, and I think Antti is not as consistent as he would want to be, because his lap times certainly are up there with the leader of this race. 1:14.1, fastest lap of his race so far. Let's compare that to Fabian Gerber, 1:14.2. Sergio Macias, 1:14.188. Nuno Moreira, 1:14 flat actually last time by. Yes, that's a 1:14 flat, exactly flat last time by for Nuno, and Gernot Fritsch 1:14.1. So Antti is certainly in the pace with the leaders, and it's amazing how consistent these drivers are against each other. How it's not stacked towards anyone. How there is not one driver who is just half a second faster. Instead, they are all very, very, very fast. So it's little subtle changes, especially on track as fast as this, to really get the gap, to really make that move on somebody. Now Nuno, oh, he's sliding, he's sideways in turn number 7, coming into turn number 8, and he is really trying his best, trying to catch up to Gernot Fritsch, but at which point will it be for Nuno that the voice inside his head says, okay, calm down, Nuno, I want this second place, I can't catch up Gernot anymore.
Never. You will at all points until the last lap and the last corner. You're hoping for that little mistake by the car in front.
Speaking of mistakes, Nathan Ciallo, who we were talking about earlier, has made a mistake in turn number 7, and he went hard to the right-hand side wall, nose first. So he made that one mistake that really cost him dearly. He was ahead of Antti. Antti was putting constant pressure on him, and I think the pressure paid off. I think that was what I would call in burnout terms psych out. For Nathan Ciallo, and he simply couldn't correct. He tried but couldn't correct his car, and he's in the pit lane, and it's really unfortunate for Nathan because he was 3 laps away from finishing in P number 5 or P number 6, depending on how Antti did, and having a really good finish of this race. Instead, his race ends in the wall and outside of your top 20. And it's also Fabian Gerber battling it out with Sergio Macias. So Sergio right now doesn't have the chance to really attack Nuno Moreira, who in turn is a bit too far away to really challenge Gernot Fritsch. But right now Sergio is under pressure for the 3rd place, as he was under pressure for the lead. Last time by, he was under pressure in Montreal from Kalle. Now he is under pressure from Fabian Gerber, who is catching up slowly but surely to Sergio, as we have 2 laps to go. And this is for your P number 3, position number 3, for your last podium position. And Fabian Gerber is really trying his best. Of course he is trying to catch up and maybe spray the champagne on the podium in the company of kings, who are Gernot Fritsch and Nuno Moreira, to get in the company of kings, to share that same space that only special people share, as they said in the lyrics of a certain Verkor song from the 70s, actually telling about Formula 1. So Fabian Gerber trying to catch up to Sergio Macias right now. Let's actually jump on board with him as we speak, and you can see once again the technique of Fabian Gerber as he comes through these last kinks. I'm gonna jump into the camera as well, so I know a little bit what I'm talking about. Coming through those fast bends, you want to cut the curb there as well as get the curb, all that curb on the exit. The cars are throwing sparks at this stage. They are very light indeed, and at their fastest if the driver has managed the tire as well. Coming into turn number 8, this is a really difficult corner, at least for me, really bumpy, and the exit has to be absolutely nailed, and I don't think Fabian did that last time by coming in the last corner into the final lap of the race. The white flag is in the air, but will it be the checkered flag for Gernot Fritsch and who will take the third place. That is the most important one right now. Well, not the most important one, but this is the one we are focusing on. It is Sergio Macias versus Fabian Gerber for your third position of this race, coming into last time by. What can Fabian do here? Can he find that one trick that is really, really throwing Sergio out of position, or will it be Sergio with another incredible defensive job? We don't know. We don't legit know. I don't know, so we just have to wait and see. It is back straight. This is the second to last of his chances. I think he needs a good exit, and he gets one, but not quite good enough, not quite close enough. He is painstakingly little away. He is only about half a second back from the car of Sergio Macias, but it is enough, unfortunately, for Fabian Gerber. Fortunately, of course, for Sergio Macias. So I don't think Mr. Macias is going to have to give up his third place. I think Fabian Gerber is a little bit too far away as they come into the last corners. And indeed, so Fabian trying his best, and he is really close, coming into second to last corner. And in the last corner, perhaps we have a chance. Perhaps we have a chance. He is 2 car lengths away as Gernot Fritz is coming over the line to win this race. Gernot is coming over the line. He is victorious once again. The man from Austria coming back into the victory lane for the first time in our broadcasted races. Nuno Moreira in the second place, and it is indeed Sergio Macias who is able to take that third place, just able to hold off Fabian Gerber. Fifth place, it is Antti Lepisto ahead of Joshua Leocata. 10th, H.A. Beer, Sam Doby coming over your finish line, as well as Juha Lampi, who was able to get back into the top 10, is able to finish this race in 9th position. Sun Wiltshire right behind him, 10th, Matt J. Wood, Mark Pickford, Joni Beckman gallantly driving, and actually Joni Beckman able to hold on and keep that car on track as they come through the last corners. Then it's Nate Franklin, Torsten Kaul, Nathaniel Porter, Andre Ventura. Those two are still quite close to each other on the last lap as they are fighting it out. So they are the last two who will finish this race in positions number 16 and 17. And Andre Ventura looks to be a bit so far away from Nathaniel Porter that he is no longer able to catch up or try to challenge him. But wow, very, very good race indeed.
Well, certainly interesting. It's never boring here.
No, it ain't.
Well, you'd maybe expect that it's a high downforce track. It's hard to be just behind the other car in the fast corners. But there's lots of stuff going on, dynamics. You can play the other guy when you're trying to find a place to pass, and mistakes everywhere. Smaller, bigger, everything.
Yes, and with those thoughts from Tapani, let's round out your final results, ladies and gentlemen, your official final results of this race. So it is the man, the myth, the legend, the Superman from Austria, and we are not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, we are talking about Gernot Fritsch, who is able to take the win of this race by the gap of 1.1 seconds to the driver of Nuno Moreira, who was in the second place. Sergio Macias in third place, only 3.2 seconds away from Gernot Fritsch, and behind him it is Fabian Gerber, who tried his best, who tried up until last corner but wasn't quite able to catch up and pass Sergio. Fifth place, it is Antti Lepisto, your highest finishing Finn in this race, which is perhaps a little surprising considering he had Juha and Kalle Ruokala as well starting ahead of him into the race. And in sixth place, it is the black horse, Joshua Leocata, who was able to prove that his practice pace and his early race pace wasn't just a fluke. He was really, really fast in the practices through training throughout the race week, and is able to get a sixth place, a really, really good result for someone who barely even made a top split. Now, H.A. Bear in the 7th place, ahead of Sam Doby in the 8th position, Juha Lampi 9th, Sun Wiltshire 10th, then it's Matt J. Wood, Mark Pickford, Joni Beckman, Nate Franklin, Torsten Kaul, Nathaniel Porter and Andrea Ventura rounding out your 17 finishing drivers. And the list of retirees is as follows: Nathan Cialo, Ian Card, Stuart Dick, Michael Vandenberg, David McDonald and Kalle Ruokala. So those are the drivers who were classified as out of this race, did not finish D and F. And I will take this opportunity before we go to our interviews, as we have a couple of drivers waiting for interview as well. Take this opportunity to once again thank our sponsors, of course, who are making this broadcast possible. A little shout out to them as well. So Hydrogen Carbon Clean, optimizing engine performance. Big thank you to them, as well as the Truck Interiors for your lowering needs, and the Lotus 79 Classic Team Championship community as well. Now, I think at this stage we will invite once again the driver of Ian Card to our commentary booth. So, if we can hear some thoughts from Mr. Card himself, Ian, 19th place at your home track off Branch Hatch, not perhaps what you expected.
No, this was just awful, actually. Not too bad pace for qualifying, and actually good race pace as well. So the problem is with this track is just you cannot get past anyone unless they make a small mistake or a big mistake. I made a massive mistake, obviously. So a little bit of frustration, which I think led to that, and just went off the track. Managed to save it, kept it out of the barriers, but was carrying too much speed. And if there'd been clear track behind me, I think would have been able to get back and going. But Mikhail and AJ, I think, were right behind me, and I knew what was going to happen. I couldn't do anything to stop it. So yeah, really disappointing. But I suppose up till then I've been driving pretty well. It's just a shame that you really cannot afford to put a wheel wrong here.
Indeed, so and I was watching that incident, and not really much you can do to her. Is it like watching a slow motion movie, like seeing a train wreck happen in slow motion once you are in that inside grass and there's nothing you can do and there's going to be a crash?
Yeah, it's really annoying because you do the hard bit of keeping the car out of the barriers, but you've just got no traction on the grass and there's nowhere to go. If there was maybe more runoff on the inside, I could have sort of maybe got the car turned, but yeah, you just know the disaster is going to happen on a crowded track.
Indeed. So this time by you were actually doing quite well for yourself in the qualifying, P number 11 in qualifying, and unfortunately that didn't translate to a good result. But is it consistency that Ian Card is looking for next?
Yeah, it's got to be. I think it's just two very small mistakes in the last 2 weeks, which have undone my race for one reason or another. And 11th in qualifying doesn't sound particularly good, but if you look at the actual time gaps, there was very little in it, and I think I did lose 2/10 in the first sector in qualifying, so I could have been a little bit higher. Not disappointed with my pace or my general driving, which I think was pretty good. It's just that one small mistake that needs to be eliminated. I think if there were a few more opportunities to maybe pass people, you wouldn't feel so bottled up behind other cars, and then you don't overdrive. So I was a bit guilty of just pushing a bit too hard, and unfortunately it was just in exactly the wrong place.
Indeed. So Ian, so if you don't have, I don't think I keep you here any longer for this race, as I'm sure this is one that you would want to forget as soon as possible. So if you have any parting thoughts, shout outs, or a thank you for possible sponsors or friends, then let's hear it. Ian Card, unfortunately P number 19 in this race.
And if you...
Yeah, just thank you, I think, to my brother, who was probably watching this and was probably hoping to see a better finish. Sorry, Neil, I'll try my best next week.
Yes, thank you, Ian Card, for the interview. And next up,
we take Gernot?
Yes, we should. And next up, we have quite a treat for you. As I'm watching outside of the commentary booth, we have quite a collection of drivers waiting for an interview there, and it is, well, couple of legends. But first, let us hear from the man himself, the winner of this race, the man to meet the legend. Congratulations, Gernot. Tell us about your race.
Thanks, Joonas. First good race for me this season. It's been really tough. Joonas was pushing like hell during the first half of the race, and then in the end it was a little bit easier after his mistake.
Yes, so you didn't get the pole position in this race. That was Juha, but you got a really good start. And how hard were you pushing towards the middle part of the race when you noticed that Nuno was catching you up?
In the beginning I was pushing a lot, but always was focused on not making mistakes. So maybe I had 1% left. In the end I was, I think I was in control. So could afford to lose a few tenths every lap.
And that's what I was looking at, because I was thinking, I have, of course, myself driven behind you on few occasions. And yes, behind you, that is the correct term. Now, how much do you generally have in spare? Like when we see Gernot Fridge in the lead, as we often do see in this series, how much do you have to spare? How many percent? Is it 1% or is it perhaps more? Does it depend on the situation? And is it often that you actually have to like push like hell, so to speak?
I think it has changed over the years because there used to be some seasons where I was pretty much in control, so I could afford to go safe. Right now I'm usually pushing a lot because Kalle, Antti, you, Tapani, whoever, all these guys are so quick, so I really have to go to the limit.
Indeed. So Gernot, first win of the broadcast races for you this season. Still thinking about the championship?
No, I think that's already over before it started for me. So I missed the first weeks. And then last 2 weeks were a nightmare for me because it had crashes without being able to do much about it. So I think the season is quite over for me, championship-wise.
Does it change your approach at all?
Not really. I'm driving for fun, so I'm not driving for wins. And I enjoy a good battle every time. So even if it's just for P5, it's still the same, or for P20 it would be the same. So it's just hard racing.
That is an incredible attitude from a multiple-time champion, Mr. Gernot Fridge, of course. As a matter of fact, 12-time champion, Mr. Gernot Fridge, if I believe, if my eyes see correctly. Now, if there is anything you would like to add, thanks to your sponsors, shout-outs to your friends, anything, then go on, please. Mr. Race winner, Gernot Fridge, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't have any sponsors, so thanks to myself for buying all the nice equipment. And was a great race with Joonas this time. So see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. And if there's anything you would want to add, of course, in German, in your own language, then little bit of a briefing in German, maybe, auf Deutsch.
Auf Deutsch. War ein super Rennen. Ich hoffe, nächste Woche gibt es ähnlich gute Situationen und wieder eine tolle Übertragung. Danke. Ciao.
Yes, danke schön, Gernot. Now, in the interview booth next, will be interviewed by Tapani Linnaluoto. Is the man who finished second? Yes. I will. I make you do some interviews too. You have to pull your weight as well.
Oh yeah.
In our commentary booth. Anyway, will be interviewed by Tapani Linnaluoto. He's the man who finished second in this race. Nuno Morella.
Yes, Nuno. How was it? You were second, and I think you might have been a bit faster than Gernot this time around. Do we have Nuno?
We have Nuno here, but he doesn't appear to be. Does have some issues right now, so we are getting ready to get those working. Here he is.
Or do we have him?
It's a bit awkward, these situations.
Well, if we pull Johnny Backman in the meantime.
Yes, let's do that. So, Tapani, go on.
Johnny, you had some fun and some mistakes. How would you see your race?
Shit race on a shit track. That's pretty much it.
Really? Now, this is my absolutely most favorite track of all time, so
I'm happy
you're
for
insulting
you.
me.
No, I'm insulting the track.
Of course. How was the race?
Bad. Well, pretty much impossible to get past unless the guy in front makes mistakes. 3 guys in front of me made mistakes. I made 3 passes. Then I made mistake myself. I ended up in the wall, and I just drove a great race. I think it's the fastest average speed I've done with a 3-wheeled car, so I'm pretty satisfied overall. And big shout out to the 3-wheeler Lotus 79 team.
Well, what about that?
What about what?
No, just 3-wheel Lotus 79 something.
Yeah.
Did you went quite much over the curb when you finally lost it in turn 8. The exit curve, it's quite treacherous. Did you see it coming, or was it completely surprising?
Did I see that the thing coming that I went wide, or did I see it coming that it's gonna landmine me into the wall? Which one?
Maybe both.
Yeah, I pretty much I practiced like maniac. I think I did like 15 laps of hard practice and trying to like get good laps in with the qualifying set, and I was fully aware what the race setup is gonna do, and then I did like four mistakes like that, but usually they didn't end up in a landmine. They just bounced me to the half to the grass, and I was able to recover. But because Brands Hatch has always been shit,
Okay, let me know if you can hear me.
And from here on out, it always will be shit. So because of that, I still hate Brands Hatch.
Well,
Okay,
as I've said
then
to
I cannot
Joonas,
hear you guys. Just that we'll recheck the.
Yes, indeed, and that is the voice of Nuno Moreira as well, coming into our... As we said, we are trying to get rid of some technical difficulties, yes, but go on, Joni.
I was, like I was saying, or trying to say, I have talked about this with Joonas. With his car, well, let me continue. As I said before, you have to be conscious which curbs to use and how much with this car, because some of the curbs are just too risky to drive over too much, and some are easier. So it takes some experience to know all the curbs and how they affect the handling of the car, how much a risk they are if you go over them. Any thoughts on that?
Not really. I know every curb around here. I've driven with several different cars around here, so I know every corner, and I hate every corner. But yeah, it's still stupid to put curbs like that on a track, which basically can like instantly kick the car sideways. But yeah, I was just here for SR and credits, and I got the credits, so it's like 50% victory for me. But yeah, time for my ice cream.
Tapani, by the way, Tapani, was that a question or a lecture?
Maybe a bit of both.
Yeah.
Maybe if we can get Nuno, I don't think he can hear us as you heard, but maybe he can just tell about his race.
Yeah, can I go to shower now? And
yes, of course, Yanni.
Yes, you can.
Thank you. And one more thing, Brands Hatch is shit. Thank you.
Language, please, on the broadcast. We apologize for the language of driver of Joni Bekon. Of course, that is not expected, nor especially from someone who is usually very professional. Well, in either way, drivers can be heated after a race, especially as it went less than well for Mr. Backman. In either way, we will hear right now from the driver who finished in the second position, well, hopefully here, Mr. Nuno Moreira. Nuno, tell us about your race.
Okay, that's fine then. All right, just to give you a quick overview of what happened. It was a really, really cool race. Remember the great times with Gernot, these battles. Sadly, I lost it a couple of times and I wasn't able to catch him. It's like fighting for tenths or I don't know, hundreds of tenths, and if you let the rear lose at 1 or 2 points, you're done. With Gernot or any guys on the front here at Lotus. So, well, I'm really happy with second place after the disasters previous races. So I'm really happy. So very good. Hope to improve on this. And thank you guys for your cool transmission. It's a pity we cannot talk, but monologue is good also. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Nuno Moreira, and Tapani, if you can message him briefly. If he has anything to add, then it's a free word, basically. Any friends or sponsors, any shoutouts, or any thoughts in Portuguese. Those are always something we like to hear, as we like to put our little bit of an international flavor in our broadcast as well.
No, Tapani. Just great work on the broadcast. It brings I think it brings a lot of interest to the series, and this is an awesome car. Everybody in iRacing should really invest time in it because it's wonderful. That's what I say. Go for the Lotus, try it, and run with the big boys. It's great fun.
Thank you to Nuno
absolutely
Moreira.
second that thought. It's one of the most exhilarating cars ever in iRacing. Maybe now the Nissan may have a bit similar characteristics, but this is still the old classic.
But the Nissan has like crazy amount of turbo lag.
No, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. The car won't go anywhere. It's like crawling. It's like, okay, I'm driving upon the exhaust. Then suddenly, oops, somebody released a pack of tigers into my room. That's an instant driving experience.
Just keep the revs high, and it's quite nice.
Well, fair enough. You would know better than I, Mr. Broadcast Race Winner. Anyway, we thank our drivers, Ian Card, Gernot Fridge, Joni Beckman, and Nuno Moreira for their interviews as well. It's always a pleasure to hear the thoughts of the drivers. And of course, shout outs to sponsors once more, once again, as well as the entire iRacing Lotus 79 community. And we thank you, the viewers, as well, for joining us once again this week and making sure that this is a spectacle worthy of the name Classic Lotus Grand Prix, because it's surely a fantastic series, as Nuno said, and something that you should watch each and every week. And even better than watching would be participating. So get on the track, take a look at that schedule, get some practice time, get on the track, and make sure that you are having fun, because that's what the 12-time champion does as well. He is having fun. Next week, we are at Le Mans, historical Le Mans, without chicanes, of course, because that is the Lotus 79 way. No chicanes, just flat out fun and really fast action. Any thoughts on the upcoming race at Le Mans? I heard it's on track where setup makes all the difference. Tapani.
Yes, the setup is going to be very interesting. It's like historic Monza without chicanes on steroids. You just try to lose all the downforce you can, get that 330 kilometers per hour straight line speed going, and try to somehow get through the corners elsewhere. So it's going to be interesting how people can do that.
Indeed so. That is something I'm very interested myself in as well. Now, I guess it's time to say goodbye for this week. So have yourselves a nice rest of the weekend. Make sure to enjoy next week as well. Have a nice Sunday. I was Joonas Puhakka. Alongside with me on the commentary booth was Tapani Linnaluoto. Behind the cameras, doing the work of 5 men, Eero Forsblom. This was a Trellet TV broadcast of the Classic Lotus Grand Prix. Have yourself a nice evening. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
Goodbye.